Welcome to episode 33 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents first issue.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes. And this is Birds of Prey #1 from DC Comics. Birds of Prey.
Yes.
This cover.
There are ladies on it.
There are, and
One of them is from Japan.
Yes. She is the Japan woman.
Can you tell? We made sure to be subtle this time. We named her Katana. Because you may not be aware that a katana is a sword from Japan.
You know, I'd love to think that in Japan somewhere there's a comic with a woman wielding a baseball bat and she's just called Baseball Bat.
Every single American character you will ever see in Japanese media is exactly like this, but in reverse.
Okay,
So
that makes me so much happier.
I'm perfect. I'm not even fooling. There's a dude named Bandit Keith from Yu-Gi-Oh! who's basically became an internet meme overnight because of people making fun of the fact that he is Mr. America Man. Later on, you must see this. We're going to go on.
he wears a bandana
With the American flag
with American
on it.
flag on it.
He has a shirt
So
with the
he's Larry
American flag
Flint.
on it. He wears a cross because there are Christians in America. He wears blue jeans because that's what Americans wear on their feet.
And the
On
best
their legs.
the best example is if you're on the internet and you're
This takes you 10 seconds to open a tab.
As you're as nerdy as this, you're going to be knowing about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series,
Yes.
in which they totally go over this character, and he's Bandit Keith from America, and every single line he has will end from "in America."
Yeah.
Does he eat a hot dog every time he does that?
I don't know. I've only
Does
seen
a
the
hot
abridged
dog
version.
get his
However,
wings?
The fact that we're
Every time he
talking
says
about
that?
Bandit Keith should tell you
Yeah.
something about this
Yeah,
comic.
we totally...
We forgot everything.
Wow.
Okay, we read it twice and forgot every fucking
This
thing.
cover. Okay, so there's 4 ladies on this cover. One sitting on the tree. One looks like she maybe made the tree.
She's Tarzaning.
I don't know. And then there's a girl Tarzaning from the tree. And then standing in the air in front of the tree, there's this woman holding a katana, as if she forgot that they're supposed to be pretending like they're in a tree for this photo shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe she's cutting down the tree.
I don't know. It's like
She's facing the wrong direction to cut down the tree, but maybe there's more tree behind.
Yeah, I think she just says, fuck you, Poison Ivy.
the movement of this is just goofy. It's like the lady swinging from the vine. If you kind of try to get a look of her legs, if you don't have the barcode on here, it doesn't look right. She's not really swinging. She's kind of... The motion of this, the art is not really selling this, and the posing for this cover is really not selling me on it. They're not uniformed. For something like for what Birds of Prey is supposed to be, they should have been doing something a little bit more like Charlie's Angels or
They
something.
should have been fighting crime or
That could help, yeah.
something.
Wait, they're crime fighters? I thought they were bad guys who were a hired mercenary group.
They fighting something.
See,
fucking knows? Yeah, once again.
they could be fighting the tree. Why not fight the tree?
Did the Poison Ivy show up, though? I don't...
Is that Poison Ivy?
Who's that supposed to be?
I don't know. She's not in there.
I don't think there was a redheaded
not in
chick in
here?
here.
I
No.
don't
I think there was a redhead. Well, anyway, we'll get to that.
Anyway.
We open it up. We turn to Gotham City
Oh, great.
now.
Everything's in Gotham City.
Apparently,
Yeah.
and well, at least it's like when you say the location, you don't need to say now because it's inferred that it's now.
The only time you would have to say the time period is if it's not now.
Well, I guess through the comic, they go through different time periods.
They
so.
flash back almost as much as Dragon Ball Z. Okay, like every friggin' page, somebody's kind of going back because they want to tell this backstory, which is fine.
All right.
Although I'm entertained that I read this last week and it was still now last week,
Yeah,
and now it's now.
yeah.
So it's still I could read this again next week and it's
And
still
it'll
be
still be now, and it's awesome because then we feel it's current.
All right, we got to talk about this comic. We're
It's,
running out of time.
Ah.
So we come up with this guy who is, I don't know, meeting somebody. And we find out that he's
a reporter or something.
he's a reporter trying to confront his contact, saying he needs evidence.
Yeah.
And there's a scope on him ready to take him up because he's probably served his purpose.
Well,
'cause-
look, not everybody believes the Foot Clan exists, okay? Somebody has to be out there to try to blow the lid
Yeah.
off of this story.
So we have this sweet vintage vehicle that is shamelessly smashed through the brick wall of this church.
and that's a crime.
Well, see, it's apparently indestructible because that bumper is still fucking perfect.
Of
and the
course.
They
front
made
grill.
it different back then.
Well,
Video game logic, dude. Like, remember, if it's not something that's more important than the car, it's going the fuck down. The wall is not more important than the car to the story. The car wins.
All right, so we have this chick that just kind of hops out. That's
Whoever this is.
just wearing a corset. I mean, who just walks around wearing a corset?
The brunette.
Unless you're at a sci-fi convention.
I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
that's the thing, as much as we can figure out about their personalities. To be honest with you, their personalities are their hair colors.
So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know who this person is, but she kind
Who
of
gives a shit? We're not going to find out. by
just
the
jumps
end.
in, and there's this other lady that's there, and apparently, that's where the sniper is, and she takes him out.
It's
So-
the friggin' cyber ninja
So-
from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, we got some action going on here. Okay, so that's okay.
And another blonde chick who's whooping his ass. She's got a knife.
Takes the knife from him. So that's where that knife came from.
Yeah,
So
she steals it from him.
yeah,
quickly.
so we got a little bit of action going here, and then somebody swoops her up with a wire and starts choking her out and everything.
I can't even warn Starling. Oh, the other chick must have been Starling.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the other
Starling,
chick
okay.
is Starling. We don't know who this is. And she's been narrating for a little bit.
I guess. I mean, like, I just know from later on that that's Black
yeah,
Canary.
this is Black
Canary.
Canary.
But did she actually like use her screaming powers, or is this an utter
She
coincidence?
does.
No, I mean before this. Like, did
not
she?
before this.
So how the hell they know to fucking choke her out?
Well, they were just going to choke her out.
I guess that's a fuck of a coincidence. That's like somebody fighting the Juggernaut, never knowing who the hell Juggernaut is. He doesn't actually do anything Juggernaut-ish, and they immediately know to contain him like in a gravity well. It's like, what the fuck? That okay? what a wonderful coincidence for you guys. I mean,
So we get some more pages of action, and then we go to the reporter who's flashing
Yeah.
back of tailing what we now know is Black Canary.
the one thing I do like
Talking
is,
with
Redhead.
which might be the redhead from the comic, though that's
cover.
curly hair and this is wavy hair.
They never keep that consistent. Don't worry about it. That's not even their fault.
So
Well,
it may,
maybe she had the straightener on this morning.
I don't know. Maybe she may or may not be the girl in the cover. We don't really know who this is, but obviously she's trying to recruit this other person, and then that's basically it. We learn a little bit about. Basically, it sounds like she's had sort of like a dark past, and she's trying to turn over a new leaf and working for
Yeah.
some sort of unsaid organization. It sounds like Charlie's Angels going on.
Yeah, and they're recruiting people. And the one thing that I do like a lot about that sequence is the fact that they use very similar framing. And this will happen again later. These very similar framing to show the end of the present scene and the beginning of the flashback. So, like, for the reporter, you see him, ducking underneath this... gunshots and shit, and then a very similar pose when he's hiding underneath the car,
Yeah.
taking pictures.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of crosstalk between
Yes.
different panels.
This was
Right.
really nice.
It
I
is
like
nice.
that a lot.
And then we go back to now, where she's using that knife to cut herself free, and then she quickly discards it to fight these other people, because discarding weapons when you're fighting 4 people is what you do.
Haven't you ever played those old brawler games? That happens between maps.
The map loaded.
Yeah.
So anyway, she uses this canary cry, which puts
It's very loud.
is very
Yeah.
loud, basically. And then
She's Banshee, but I don't think she can fly.
then there's more of them, and then she's gonna kick their ass again.
Yeah, because ninjas.
Yeah.
With their asses,
They're disposable.
And
Yeah.
who's this girl again? Starling,
Brunette.
and she's just kind of.
Driving away through the queues. Once again, don't damage the car at all because the car is more important to the plot,
Well, it's also made of like hard, heavy steel, but
I suppose.
and that's wood.
But that's have you actually tried running into a tree?
True.
running into
And
shit?
she's just constantly relenting this whole time about, oh man, things are so bad. Oh man, it had to be a church. And it's
Well,
like,
it's
you know what,
just,
let's-
she's trying to be funny. I mean, she's like, come on, how do you even confess a crime like this?
I don't know. I thought she was genuinely relenting.
I couldn't tell. That's what was being
But
jokey.
we cut back to basically where she noticed that this guy is basically tailing him, and so basically everybody knows that this guy has been tailing them and is trying to get information on them, and so they kind of we find out that both who these girls are fighting and these girls were both kind of using them as bait to draw out each other. So that was a little bit interesting.
Yeah.
You pull in this character that seems like he might be. Well, he's obviously important to this plot,
Yeah.
but you kind of wondering like, well, where is this going to be going? How far will this be going? We get a scene where
She unmasked one of the ninjas.
she masks one of the ninjas, and he kisses her and basically says, "I just killed you."
Yeah.
So if you're not thick, you're gonna know that probably it's like poison lipstick or
some
crap
kind of
on
shit
it.
like that. That's how it goes.
And,
spy weapons.
Yeah, spy stuff.
Yeah.
And so they all get the fuck out of there, and they're driving away, and they're gonna catch a plane out of there.
Yeah.
And there's at least some decent, it's going at a fairly decent pace as far as they're not stopping for anything ridiculous. And I will say,
it's very much like Death Proof.
I haven't seen that actually.
Ah.
But it doesn't really stop for any. There's no waste. I don't think there's a whole lot of wasted space in here. And another thing, there's really no needless posing of things. So
that's something we should have brought up. Because the problem is we forgot. There's no fucking titillating bullshit. Like you really don't get the image that this is a titty comic. This is a comic starring women, so that works fine. Now, if I could tell them apart besides their hair color, that would help a lot.
Yeah. There is some attempts at characterization in the story.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make much of an impact.
I think it's because a lot of it is the way they speak.
Yeah.
They speak in a different way.
It's not a very dynamic comic, and I say this both about the imagery and the writing. It's like none of it really sticks. It's competent in its rendering, but like the action scenes just kind of are there.
Yeah.
You don't get wrapped up in them. You don't see very many camera shots from angles that are anything other than neutral. You don't see anything that gives you a whole lot of motion or it's competent but sort of static.
Blasé.
Yeah.
The way I would put it is it's very much...
that's my one complaint about the comic.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all. But
it doesn't really stand out.
It doesn't stand out. And I mean, our biggest problem in starting this review was that, do you remember this comic? We read it a week ago.
Yeah. Well,
so it just kind of slips off the brain.
Yeah,
true.
But anyway, we have a crazy ass spoiler. Things happen.
And stuff happens in the comics.
We can't spoil the ending because it would give away too much. But it was, for me, it's kind of iffy on this. I kind of want to give this a succeeds because there's a lot in here where they establish a lot of things. However, it kind of fails where, to basically grab your interest a bit more. I mean, I think it does a lot of things right, but it's like it didn't take that many chances. However, I think it's done a lot better than some of the other failures that we've reviewed.
Oh, yeah.
So, what do you think?
I'm giving it a meh, just because, I read it. I know I read it, because whenever I see the particular pages, there's an impulse that comes off in my brain that says, you have seen this before. The problem that happens is that I don't really care, because the information that's attached to it is not information that was really engaging. So I definitely would not give it a fails, because if you're into it to see kind of a almost Tarantino-ish kind of Charlie's Angels coming together sort of comic, you're going to get it. It's full of action, there's no wasted time, there's no talking heads, talky sections where nothing fucking happens and you feel like you've wasted your money. You will not feel that way. You will have a good time for what it is. Just to me, it didn't leave much of an impact. But that's more myself than the quality of the work.
I agree with Marcus. I give it a meh. I think it's a perfectly competent comic. It does tell the story adequately. And it passes Bechdel test. It features women in starring roles, and it's not titillation. I'm all for it. But the thing is it just didn't make an impression for whatever reason. So your mileage may vary. I'll give it a halfway in between.
And for the same reasons, it had content that I was kind of interested in with, so it's not like I hated this comic. It had a lot of potential. It just didn't succeed enough for me to care to get the issue 2, and that's why I also give it a meh. And that's Birds of Prey #1 from DC Comics.